Hi guys, welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. For this week's tutorial, we're going to be making this adorable cream egg called Doug from your Terry's Chocolate Orange. Excellent for any new beginner baker as very basic equipment is used and great for your Easter portfolio. Let's make a start. Unwrap a Terry's Chocolate Orange and place it directly onto some baking paper. Add a small amount of edible glue directly on top and then taking a small ball of purple fondant, place this on the top of your Terry's Chocolate Orange and shape it. You want it so that the Terry's Chocolate Orange and the fondant create more of an egg-like shape. Using a small amount of warmed up liquid glucose, simply brush this over the chocolate and the fondant. By warming the liquid glucose up first, this will make it more runny and easier to use. Roll out exactly 150 grams of purple fondant, keeping this in a circular shape. Carefully drape this over your covered Terry's Chocolate Orange, negotiating the pleats from the top to the bottom. I then smooth this out a little bit more using a flexible smoother. However, this is not an essential piece of equipment, so do not worry if you don't have one of these in your collection. I then gently cut away the excess fondant, and finally I smooth out the base just a little bit more. Using a large round circle cutter, I cut out some red fondant and then I simply apply this to the base of my egg using some edible glue. Now you will have to hold the egg in order to be able to do this, and the fondant is still soft. But as you can see, it's perfectly doable. Just take your time and be careful not to damage the shape or get fingerprints in there. So for Doug's face, you're going to need some yellow fondant. I start by pushing this down with my fingers first and just checking that it's roughly the right size for the egg, just by placing it next to it. Then to get the splat-like shape, start by pulling it away just at the edges. Make sure the fondant does not tear, but this is excellent if you don't have a splat cutter. To make this easier, I then create a guide. So if you have a ball tool, place 2 indentations for the eyes. Don't worry if you don't have a ball tool, you can just add the eyes directly on there. And finally, I use a cocktail stick to add an indentation for the mouth. So for the eyes, we're going to start with a ball of black fondant and simply push this down. I then add on top of this a slightly smaller ball of white and finally an even smaller ball of black. It really is as simple and as easy as that. For the mouth, I simply roll out a very thin sausage shape in my hands and I apply this directly to that indentation that I made. Now take a very small piece of red fondant and just shape it in your hands so it's more of a teardrop shape, and using some edible glue apply this directly to the face for the tongue. I then use a cocktail stick just to add an indentation directly into the centre. Apply some edible glue directly to the back of the face and then stick this directly onto your covered Terry's Chocolate Orange. I then take a small ball of red fondant and shape this into more of a cone-like shape. I want both of these to be identical. I place them next to each other and then simply add some edible glue and pick very carefully the Terry's Chocolate Orange up and place it directly on top. This will be Doug's feet. For Doug's arms, again, I create 2 red cone shapes and simply apply this directly to his sides with a small amount of edible glue. If you want, you can add a small indentation using a cocktail stick to create a little thumb. All I did then was apply him directly to my decorated cake drum with 2 Cadbury's cream eggs. It really is as easy as that. Something that occurred to me afterwards, if you wanted to, you could apply Doug to the decorated cake drum first, place the cream eggs on either side, And instead of having Doug's arms going down his side, you could have one arm perched on either of the cream egg. I've also found that these particular colours go really well on just a blank white canvas, because it'll help all the colours contrast and really come out. Happy baking, everyone. I really do hope I've helped you again today. I'll be back soon with more new, completely free content.